Hello and welcome to AB Chinese and welcome to another grammar video. In today's video we're going to talk about how to say possessions with the particle de. So this is like an apostrophe S in English where you would say the dog's toy, or in English we could also conjugate our pronouns to change I into mine or my, like my food. And all of this can be done in Chinese with the all-powerful de. So let's get right into it. Okay, so the structure is pretty simple. All you have to do is attach de after your subject, and then your object goes after. So if you want to say my cell phone, you just say 我, I, plus de, and that makes it into my 手机, cell phone, my cell phone. And you can make this a complete sentence and put it anywhere in a regular sentence that you normally would. For example, you can say 这是, this is 我的手机. My cell phone. This is my cell phone. 这是我的手机. You can also drop your object entirely if you want to talk about something arbitrary. So going back to our last example, this is my cell phone. If we drop cell phone, you're left with 这是我的. This is mine. Maybe you're just pointing at something, or you're not specifying exactly what is yours, or they know what it is. For whatever reason, if you need to drop your object, you can just say 这是我的 to say this is mine. This arbitrary object is mine. And I will teach you another bonus phrase, and that is 有的. So what you're basically doing is you're replacing your subject, where your subject would be with this character 有, and that means to have. So this is another even more arbitrary phrase that just means there is or there are. So something you might say is 有的大有的小. If you're just talking about a group of things and you want to say there are some big and there are some small. But that's a slightly more advanced phrase. If you're just getting introduced to the character de, don't worry about it for now. So let's just take a look at a few more examples to make sure you understand it. Alright, the first one, 我的猫, my cat. Pretty straightforward. Now make sure you pay attention to the second one because it's 你的责任, your responsibility. So it doesn't matter if your object is a physical object or an abstract idea like responsibility, you can use it the same way. 你的责任. This is your responsibility. 这是你的责任. And finally, 他的东西. His stuff. Arbitrary, his stuff. 他的东西. Wait, you can drop the de? Yes. Under some situations, you can drop the de and it would still sound and mean more or less the same thing. Some of these situations include when the context makes it obvious, when it's more of a relationship than it is a possession, and finally, when it has become colloquial or just convenient to say. Now, none of these are hard set rules, and unfortunately, the easiest way to learn when to drop the de and when not to is to listen to a lot of native speakers talk, because oftentimes you'll have a lot of similar cases, and in one instance it'll sound weird if you drop the de, but in the other instance it will sound perfectly normal and even weird if you don't drop the de. So I'm just going to give you some guidelines for you to start, and if you are unsure at any point, it's probably better to leave the de in. This way at least you'll be understood, and even if you do sound a little bit awkward. And over time you'll start getting a better grasp of when it's natural to drop the de and when it's not. Okay, so here are 4 more definitive situations where you might drop the de. So let's just walk through all of them. So the first one is relationships, and that was the first point I brought up. 我爸爸, my dad. You don't own your father, you don't own your sisters. It's more of a relationship than it is a possession, so you would tend to drop it. Under rare circumstances, you might say 我的爸爸, 我的妈妈, but usually you just say 我爸爸, 我妈妈. My mom, my dad, 我哥哥, my older brother, 我姐姐, my older sister, things like that. Second thing is personal things. So I've noticed that, at least for me and people I've talked to, when you're talking about things that are related to your personal life, you tend to drop the de. And this is related to things that are really close to you, where possession is really obvious. So like if you're walking with your friends, 把我包拿过来, give me my bag. 我包, it's really obvious that you're talking about your bag. So some examples I also wrote down. 你房间整理好了吗? Did you clean up your room? 你房间整理好了吗? So that's kind of like a personal thing. it's the space where you live in. You can also say 你的房间整理好了吗? And, both of them would work. Oh, also, I didn't write in any of the pinyin or anything because I don't think it's really important. We're just talking about the overall concepts of dropping the de or not dropping the de. So just kind of pay attention to these situations. And another one with situation number 2 is 我心情不好. My mood's not good today, Or not, well, that wasn't in there, but 我心情不好 is just my mood's not good. Your mood, it's a personal thing. The third example is institutes. When you're talking about schools, your work, clubs you belong to, religious affiliations maybe, things like that. Again, it's not something that you own. It's more of a relationship. You belong to that organization. So you would tend to drop the de. 我们学校不远. Is that what I wrote? Yeah. Can't really see from here. Our school is not far. You can also say 我们的学校不远. But it's a little bit more natural to drop the de and just say 我们学校不远. Our school is not far. And finally, the last definitive situation I can think of is when you have 2 does in a row. So this one is related to when it's convenient or it's just easier to say. And the example I have is 我拿了你. Okay, so 我拿了你书包里的东西. We're dropping this de. So altogether, with both of the does, you would have 我拿了你的. Or first of all, this sentence means I took the things that are in your bag. So 我拿了你的 your 书包 bag 里的东西. The things that are inside the bag. That's really awkward to say and it's a mouthful. So this de is more important because you're talking about the things that are inside the bag. And if you omit that, then you're not sure what the relationship is between the bag and the things. So in this instance, we would drop the first de because it's a bit more obvious that you're talking about your bag. If you're talking to your friend, it's going to be more obvious that you're talking about your bag versus the differentiating between the things that you took and the bag. So 我拿了你书包里的东西. I took the things that are in your bag. And okay, so this one was a little weird because I thought about this and I couldn't classify it. But I feel like it's very common when you're asking about the weather of a location to drop the de. So like 纽约天气怎么样? How's the weather in New York? You can also, yeah, I can't quite place that one. So this is exactly why you just need to listen to a lot of people talk. And for all I know, maybe some people in different parts of China will talk differently too. I haven't been to that many places in China, so I hate to leave this much ambiguity on the table, but that is the situation that we have at hand. Yeah. Alright guys, thank you for watching this video. Hopefully by now you have a solid understanding of how to use de to indicate possession. But there's actually way more other uses to this character, and in part 2 of this video, coming next week, we will discuss yet another one of its functions. I wonder what that topic could be. See you guys next week. 下次再见了。